The second question, or rather topic that I wanted to talk about, is actually related to the last topic, related to, what if it's too high, it's uncomfortable. And this is something that I kind of observed and have thought a lot about over my own years of singing, and also the years of teaching that I've done. How the language that we assign to things can create a situation where it makes it harder than it actually is, because we're basing our sense of the thing on the wrong terminology. So what am I talking about? And you guys know now, I'm the voice shaman. I really have a passion for spirituality, for shamanism and voice together. These are the things that I'm uniting in the work that I do. So what happens to you spiritually? What happens to your singing spirit when you are thinking high and low during singing? What does that do? How does that hurt your singing spirit, and how can you fix it? So let's first talk about what singing high and low means. I know that I just used high and low 1,000 times in my last explanation, but it's a super old habit. I was trained high notes, low notes. So it's a very difficult, even for me, with a consciousness about what the implications are of high and low and not high and low. Even being trained in that sense, I still have that terminology. So that was my disclaimer. But what happens when you think high and low when you're singing? Notes are not high or low. What they are is faster or slower. A note is a frequency. A frequency is a wavelength. So if you have the note A, one of the A's is 440. The A that's an octave below, or 440 hertz. Okay, that's the how fast the vibration is. The A below that is 220. So is 220 lower than 440, or is it slower than 440? The right answer is slower. Why is it not lower? Because low and high has to do with relation to gravity. It has to do with a relation to some sort of floor or bottom surface. What happens then when you are thinking high or low when you're singing? Your body automatically behaves in a way that it has to fight against gravity. It puts more weight into the voice when you're thinking high or low. Whereas if you're thinking faster or slower, when I have a high note, the air needs to move faster. And there's also another element to that, but the air moves faster and the vibration is faster. And so it has a lightness to it. Faster is lighter. And pro tip, when you want to sing high, it's a lighter singing, not heavier singing, not more pushing. There is singing, of course, belting, where you really, you let it all out and there's a lot of air pressure behind the voice. But a good belt is going to still have that space. It's not going to be, it's going to have a lot of pressure, but it's not going to be so heavy that it starts to destroy your singing. So, all that is great. What does that have to do, though, with how it's hurting your singing spirit? Okay. Thinking high and low brings a lot of discomfort into the singing. It makes you then think, crap, I can't do it. Ugh, I have so much more to learn. The number of singers, myself included, who go through university and there's one note in the range somewhere up here where all of a sudden it's like that's the note where the voice just won't go past. Sometimes it's physiological. Sometimes it has to do with the length of the vocal folds and the voice just won't do it physiologically. But most of the time, this note we consider high, we have such a mental block for that note that we don't allow ourselves to be light enough, to be relaxed enough to have the right, total, the vocal mechanism doesn't work because we're putting too much pressure on it. So how does this hurt then you spiritually? Because you are thinking in high and low leads to, I can't do this. And when you start approaching expression through a lens of I can or can't do this, you are creating a condition on your spirit and a condition on the expression. You're not expressing unconditionally. Think of a kid. A kid who's singing their favorite song does not give a crap if the key is right. They don't give a crap if the note is high. They just sing it, and they do it with joy, and there's no second guessing themselves. There's no inner voice that says like, this is, I can't do this. They believe in themselves because they were never taught not to. When we think high and low, we're taught high. There's a place that you can't go past. You have a limit. And okay, physiologically, maybe sometimes that's true. But most of the time, our physiological limit, particularly for untrained singers, your physiological limit of where you can sing is like way, way, way higher than you think it is. Yeah. So thinking high and low sets a limitation on you mentally, and you end up manifesting that difficulty in the voice because, look, you experience what you believe. If you believe that note is too high, you will never, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it because it's something that you have said is impossible. And then when there's something that you want to do and you can't do it, especially when it's something that is possible, but you make it so that you can't do it because you tell yourself it's not possible, it starts to erode your self-esteem. It starts to erode your desire to express. And this is how it hurts your singing spirit. So what do you do about it? It's it's the simplest thing in the world. But, a lot of times the simplest things are the most difficult to execute. Instead of thinking high or low, think fast and slow. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Instead of thinking high or low when you're singing, think fast and slow. So if I'm going to go back to that Mariah Carey example, I'm going to start at the bottom, where the verse is. It's in a lower range. Da, 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 da. And I'm going to let myself imagine that the vibration is slower, because it is. Not only is the vibration slower, but my vocal folds are more relaxed. They're not as taut. So it's just a much more relaxed thing. Now, when I'm going to go high, I can't live. If I think of the vibration going higher, it's going to be energized. It's going to be like soda or sparkling water. It's going to have bubbles in it, and it's going to go out, and it's going to become so much easier to sing. I promise that. I have applied that to myself 1,000 times. That's what I've taught all of my students, and that thing really works. Now, that's like a visualization technique for it. How do you address it mentally or physically rather? The best thing that you can possibly do is the following. Use your body to tell your mind that it's putting a stupid limitation on you. Okay? When you are singing, if the melody goes up, you want to take your body and put it down. When the melody goes down, you take your body and you bring it up. So you're creating a balance within the singing. The thing is that if you're singing low, if you go down in the singing and you let the body go down, what happens is you usually end up being flat. The tone is flat. It sounds strange. What we end up doing when we think something is high is we bring our whole body up high with us, and that creates like more tension than was even there originally. And the up, so much tension, and then we have a cap, it's too high. So what do? You stand, and when you're singing, and you're going to go up, so I would do something like this, okay? I would go, I can't live, we're living is without you. I can't live anymore. Let your legs and let the floor under you support the high note. I swear to Goddess God, universe, whoever is out there listening, all the aliens, I swear to all of you, if you do that, it will open up the top of your range super, super easy. So that is that.